Hello everyone, and good afternoon. Welcome once again to the Africam show powered by Explorer.org. We are very happy to have you here, even though this tiny little plover might not be too impressed with life at the moment. We want to wish everyone a warm welcome, independently of where you're watching, and if it's morning or afternoon like it is here in South Africa. My name is Ali, and I will be hosting you guys throughout today. So let's hope we get some animals popping by into all the different cameras that we have pretty much all across Africa, I would say. I mean, maybe not all across Africa, that's an exaggeration, but in a bunch of very cool and different destinations. As you may know, or if you don't know, this show is live and interactive. So if you have any questions or any comments, just feel free to send them through. We love having a conversation with everybody else. And if you're hearing the sound of destruction in the background, I am terribly sorry, and I will apologize once again because I have my own wild beast living at home. It is not as cute as those three banded clover chicks that are now walking away. He has 4 legs. His name means banana. Maybe that's why he's destroying everything in life. And he's just destroying a cardboard box because I thought that would be the easiest way to keep a puppy entertained so that he wouldn't bark. Now, I see that some of you have joined us today, and we are going to go through some hellos while we give a chance to everyone to just join us today. So we have Casper's 3D Ghost. You're saying good morning from a very chilly Milwaukee. Very hot coffee and ready for the show. A hot coffee, actually. I should have done that today because we've experienced such strange weather in the last little bit in South Africa. I think, I've spoken to 3 different people today in very different parts of the country. South Africa is a very big country, and everybody's been freezing. So that's not been the greatest start of the week. Also, yesterday was very cold. We've got Aussie Jan too. You say good afternoon, one and all, with coffee break. We're all about the coffee breaks. I should have been better. I really should have made some coffee. I just got water. That's really it. I don't have anything else. April Owl, you're saying good morning from cold but sunny Connecticut with your coffee and vanilla soy milk. Oh, that sounds like a really good combination when it's sunny and cold. That's actually not too bad. I can deal with that. Funny enough, I was saying to Chris before we started the show earlier on that I have been colder in the summer in South Africa than what I was in the winter. So now the summer here is exactly what you're looking at. It pretty much looks like that. All of the mud wallows are starting to be full. All of the pans start getting fuller because it actually rains both in South Africa and in East Africa around November. Or that's generally when the rains come. And judging by all those little droplets that we're seeing, I guess, Coral's also experiencing some interesting weather today. I'm sure that's why those little plover chicks were just underneath its mom earlier on, where we started the show, and they were all just tucked in, just trying to warm up. Because, can you imagine just being a tiny little creature and living there and being cold? Probably not the best, but they do a really good job of staying alive. Oh, look, there's a little fly, little chick, go. So we might witness this little one's kill live. Oh no, it flew away. Clever. Got Jan Powers, you've also joined. You're saying hi all, finally made it again. Well, welcome. We're very happy that you managed to make it again. We like it when people return. From a rainy Florida today, and you're missing the Arizona sun. Well, maybe the Florida weather is a little bit like the South African weather at the moment. Not great. Timber Grace, you're saying good morning from sunny Minnesota, and you're excited for the show. Well, hopefully we'll get lots of excitement. I saw that earlier, I think it was earlier this week, my time frames in my mind don't always work. But I saw that, I want to say it was in a lady camp, but they spotted a leopard and her tiny little cub, which was very cool. So, we can always hope that maybe in weather like today, on Monday, yes. So Chris is saying that it was indeed on Monday. I feel like, I know it's only Tuesday, but yesterday, and maybe for some of you felt the same way, it just felt like Monday was a week in itself. It was a very long, tiring day yesterday, so that made it quite something. But the rosy span female made an appearance with her little cub, which everyone was very excited. I was excited when I saw it because, seeing leopards and tiny little ones is always a special treat. So I'm kind of hoping that if the weather continues to be this way everywhere, sometimes you get oddly lucky with things and they come to water holes, or especially in weather like today, and don't ask me why, wild dogs just seem to go around running. So, there's always, whenever there's windy, stormy weather, but, not quite storming, I know that sounds very imprecise, but that is the best explanation I can give. We tend to see a lot of wild dogs when we're out on drive. So it would, it's always something to hope for. Because, I mean, it is 4 o'clock, so creatures should start moving out and about. Look at those little legs. But then again, a lot of the creatures might just be doing exactly what these little chicks are doing, and it's just hiding away from the weather. It's not great weather, especially when you're little. You might just get very cold. So you've got to tuck yourself into mom for some warmth. They are very cute with all those little legs, aren't they? I do love them. And it's funny because it's nice to see a 3-banded plover again, because I think we always tend to pay a lot of attention to the Blacksmith lapwings. They just seem to dominate the scene. So it's nice that we're actually focusing on somebody else for a change. Don't you worry, I'm sure they are around, and I can hear a Haridai somewhere in the background, so they're all around. Kauru, you're asking if the 3-banded plovers have the same kind of nest as the Blacksmith lapwings do. We never got to see this nest, as far as you know. Well, I don't know if this nest was seen, but yeah, they also lay the ground nests. So generally the eggs are spotted, mottled, just to conceal themselves with the background, and then the little tiny chicks will then depend on or rely on their parents' care to try and make it into adults. But some of them, as you know, some of them get squashed or they get taken away by other things. Sorry about that. There's my protection dog, making sure no little plovers go missing on his guard. Well done. Hey, Bob from Kalamazoo, you've also joined us, and with Diet Coke in hand. Well, welcome. We wouldn't expect anything other. Lisa P., you're saying good morning from Ontario, Canada. Oh, we've got like a nice big international group and all sorts of weather today. NW girl, still early here in Oregon. You haven't made your coffee yet, but you get a break from the rain this week. Well, that's very nice. We've had, and it's funny because I feel like if you ever want to see the true dramatic side of an animal, you just look at them when it's really hot and then when it's really rainy. Because over the weekend it was, I want to say excruciating, but it's not as bad as it will get. It gets very hot here in the summer. So the weekend was very hot, very humid. You could just feel when you walk out, and I'm sure for the folks that live in Arizona or very hot areas, when you walk out and you can just feel your skin burning. That's what it felt like this weekend. But then, of course, as soon as that happens, or thankfully, generally, that just means that a cold front's going to come in, and then that brings the clouds, the rainy weather, and a couple of days of like really miserable weather. So you'll find animals are going to be really hot, especially things like birds. They won't tuck themselves under their parents. They might even guller flap where they're trying to dissipate heat through their throats. And then when it's really cold, everybody's got to gather together just to make sure they don't die of hypothermia. As you can imagine, it's not, I'm going to say, maybe 20 degrees Celsius, 18. I think that was the sort of the range for this afternoon in South Africa. So it is still very cold for little creatures like little birds. So that don't have all of their feathers yet, and they've got to be careful. That's why the parents are more than happy to pluck them up, and they look like they've got 1 million legs, because of course all of the little ones are hiding in there. You can feel I don't know if those are droplets. I'm inclined to say droplets, because also, of course, because it is the summertime here, we have a boom of insects everywhere. Of course, where there is water, there are a lot of insects that just thrive in there. Mosquitoes, of course, being one of them. But we're going to stop talking about mosquitoes and horrible things, and then let's head over to Naledi, because apparently we have flowers over there. Let's go and have a look. My wildflower knowledge, like every year when the summer starts, is rusty, but nothing like a good challenge to start again every year. And then to see what there is. Even though mudwallows are always a cool thing. Oh, hello. This is a bit pixelated, but it looks like some sort of lily, maybe? Maybe like a crenum of sorts. So this is some of the things that we can actually look forward to in the summertime. So the winter looks very much like the previous scene that we were watching, and this is if you've never been to South Africa or Southern Africa and you're wondering about the seasonality difference. So what we saw earlier, where everything just seemed, because if we were to look on a wider view of the plovers, it just looks very dry, very miserable in a way. And then as soon as the rain comes, then we have this massive coloration that comes out, and you wonder where from, because a lot of trees, they lose their leaves, the wildflowers are of course not around, and it's just quite something just to see all the hues of green and all the things that transform. And amazing, because a lot of the flowers are actually, you might just see their leaves during the winter, like those bright colorful lilies at the back, and you wonder how they actually survive, and you're pretty sure that they're dead. And then the first rains come and then they just transform, and it's really beautiful. Okay, let's head to the Oliphant River. I want to see what the weather and what the river levels are there, because apparently we do have some, not still live, but some live. Oh, hello, Mr. Waterbuck. So this is also a good example. Ooh, did we just hear a woodland kingfisher? I have not heard it here yet. This is exciting for me. So, I mean, I could have imagined it, but I'm pretty sure I heard a chip chirr, which is, the call of a woodland kingfisher. So it's a very beautiful little bird, bright and blue. I'm waiting for Kirst to let me know if you guys have seen them in the cameras. But funny enough, where I stay, and I live in Hoedspruit, which is not too far from the camera in the Oliphants River, just a little bit further south, I haven't yet heard my first woodland for the season. So I just want this bird to maybe make this call again so that I can be sure, because it's hard to listen to them. But I think that was it. I mean, it's a very distinctive call. So the woodland kingfisher is one of our migratory species. They come back every summer, and we love them for it. Even though towards the end of summer, there we go. You can hear it. That chirp, chirr, that noise. Yes, they're back. That is amazing. And it's also a little bit surreal to hear them. I know where the Oliphant River is, and I know it's not far from home, but I haven't yet heard them where I am. Okay, so they're definitely back. So in terms of traditions, when it comes to like guiding and hospitality, and perhaps even just like general, seasonality traditions, so there are a couple of things that we look forward to every summer, or that signify the start of the summer here in the southern hemisphere, well, at least on the African side. Oh, hello, Nyati Game Drive Vehicle. So one of the things is, of course, the woodland kingfisher returning. It's the birth of the first Impala lamb, because Impalas here, they breed and they give birth seasonally. So we will have a ton of little baby Impalas running around, which is very cool. Oh, there's a Blacksmith. We're talking about them. And then, of course, the woodland kingfishers and just a myriad of migratory bird species that start coming back. So I'm sure maybe in some of the other camps, maybe Rosie's Spam seems to be also a good camera. I think we had really cool sightings of woodland kingfishers there last year, or last summer, I should say. It wasn't last year, it was the beginning of this year. So that's pretty exciting. I think we can officially say that we've taken out all the big ones. And I'm pretty sure you guys have seen Impala lambs on the cameras at some stage, because I know they've been around for a while. I haven't seen them yet myself from where I am. And I'm sure it's relating to food availability and potentially rainfall. Because of course, it's a very strange thing, but the rain is very, what is the word that I'm looking for? Is very localized. So Oliphants might be getting a lot of rain, and we are not getting, or here where I am further south, I'm not getting a lot of rain. I think Kenya, everybody's, a little bit stressed that they're going through a drought again. But what I really meant to say is that in even areas that are in the same country and not too far apart, you can have a wide difference in terms of the rainfall. Okay, Kirst is saying that you guys are definitely seeing a lot of Impala lambs on Tembe. Well, that is good. So, that is pretty much, and we saw a kite the other day, which is it's generally the first migratory species that we see. So it will be the kites, and then the woodlands, or the lambs, and then the woodlands. It just depends. So everybody generally just takes guesses or bets as to when we're going to see the first little creatures, when we're going to see the first lambs, when we're going to see the first woodlands, because with the woodlands it's quite interesting. They arrive and they're quiet for a while. We don't always see them, but they arrive, and after they've arrived and they sort of settle, then they start calling, and then we start seeing them. Very sneaky little things. I wonder where they're gonna. Not that this waterbuck is at all bothered at all. No, it's just ruminating, carrying on with its day. Making sure he's hearing. Oh, there's a lady also to the right bottom of the screen, another female. So the waterbuck don't really form herds, as in like you won't see the males hanging with the females on a permanent basis. They tend to the males will associate in bachelor herds, so there'll be a lone territorial bull that will try to herd the females, and then the females actually can form spinster groups where it's just all the females that don't have young ones, and then of course, smaller herds of all the females with the youngsters. It actually looks like a young female. I wonder, maybe love is in the air somewhere around here. Karim, you're saying that the woodlands are really cute when they call. You call them big mouth. I love them. I call them Batmans. And hopefully you guys will be able to see it at some stage during the cameras, just because they have this territorial display where they move their little wings and they just open them, and then they just, they look like a bat, and then they jump up and down, and then they turn around, and then they jump again, and then they just face a different direction. They're hilarious. I think they're my favorite display. And I've always wanted to get like a really good photo or a video of one of them doing that, and I still have not managed to get that right after all these years. Suppose I should put more effort to this. Pay more effort? Put more effort into it? Pay more attention? Ooh, that was a confusion of all the sayings. Okay, well, he's exited. Okay, let's see. I think maybe let's go to Mabula, because we do have a lapwing that's sitting on eggs. I wonder what lapwing it is. Let's go have a look. Oh, hello. You're giving all the Blacksmith lapwings, a good name. Because of course we were just saying earlier on, we tend to see the Blacksmith lapwings quite a bit. They are generally around the water sources, and they lay their eggs at this time of the year, and they can lay more than, sort of one clutch per season. It just depends on how successful or not they might be in raising their little ones. Because if you can imagine, so what would you say? Maybe their little ones are the size of a human thumb when they're born, perhaps even a little bit smaller than that. So there are a lot of things that are after them, from sort of mongoose to, we can say the smaller cats. They accidentally get stepped on by bigger creatures, and of course the weather doesn't always help them, and then that might just give them hypothermia and things like that. So they don't always make it. So let's just put all the good vibes for these two little eggs that this individual seems to be incubating. And it's funny, like the way that from this angle, it is sitting in a comfortable position, but it's interesting to see the way that the legs are, where it can just spring up very quickly. I think that is also an interesting adaptation that we can see from here, as in, if she had to run away from danger, if it had to like sort of try to get the attention of a possible predator, so to try and deviate it from the eggs, then it's just a quick way of doing so. It's almost like a spring, They can just get up and then start going and moving on. Oh, are you having a snack in bed? I'm sure they must have done a lot of incubating today, all of those birds. It's been a cold day, so they've just got to make sure that their little eggs... Oh, hello, little eggies! I find them so sweet and so gentle when they do this, because of course, the eggs are still hardy. It's not, they're not particularly fragile or anything, but they still seem to settle themselves in a very gentle manner. Parental behavior 101. Suppose if you are any bird and you squash your eggs while trying to incubate them, then it might not be the best thing for the species, or that might not be what your bird partner wants you to do. No? Or are you just staying all the way over there? Oh, seems like today is going to be a show of all about the birds. Hopefully more of them will come and join us, because there are a lot of them. But as summer goes, more and more of them are going to start arriving. Because as I was saying, sorry, I've just got my own bird around here that wants to pretend that he can fly, but no. You also want to see the Blacksmith lapwings and learn all about them? No, because you might just chase them, because you're still a puppy and you don't know how to control yourself. No? It's very hard having pets in the wildlife. in wildlife areas when you don't want them to chase absolutely anything, but then their instinct kicks in. So work in progress. I must say though, and you guys cannot see it right now, but my dog is very interested in what he is seeing on the screen. He is very puzzled about it. So at least, there's that curiosity. And he's also very upset because he can't get to it. No. There's no need to. There's no need to cry. Alrighty, seems like we've got some more birds at Camper's Dam, so let's maybe head there, have a look. It'd be nice if, we had lots of birds there. Oh, well, look at all the flamingos. And what are these? Gulls at the back? Terns. Well, hello, all of you. What are you guys doing? I think I can almost hear them. Oh, sorry. Trying to handle this dog. It seems like everybody's just having a good day today. At least at Camper's Dam they are. It seems like it's definitely sunnier in this part of South Africa than it is in some other places. Oh, well, I like this. Yeah, it was quite interesting. I was recently reading a what is the name of this thing? A paper on how flamingos are actually able to stand on one leg for so long and how they're able to stand just period for so long. The same way we've always wondered as to how giraffes can have their necks erect for so long without being uncomfortable and why they don't put it down. And a lot of it is just because that is their comfortable position. That is how they're happy, and that is generally the relaxed position of the animal. So they're not actually expending any effort. It's more effort actually to lie down or to incubate the egg than what it is just to stand up on one leg. I always find this. Imagine that, your comfortable position is not sitting down, but standing up forever for life. That is nice. Alrighty. Seems like we have an Impala lamb at Simbi, so I think we should ditch all the birds and the flamingos and then just head there. Sorry, flamingos, you guys are important and we love you. However, I have not seen my first Impala lamb, and look at them, they are definitely worth it. Oh, they're too cute. Look at that little baby. Actually, I lied. I thought I saw a tiny little thing today, but I thought it was a bush bug. But now that I see this Impala, to be fair, as I was driving, it ran across the road and into the bushes, so I just saw brown running. But look at this little wobbly one. Still doesn't quite understand how to use its legs, so I don't know if perhaps the rest of the herd is around. But if the rest of the herd is not around, then it's a good indication that this little one was just born, and it's still very young. Because generally, what will happen is the females, they live in a herd throughout their lives. However, when it's time to give birth, they tend to split from the main herd, have their little one, and then eventually they reintroduce it onto the main herd. And then, of course, as the little ones start growing, they almost have like little crash groups where one parent or one female, oh, look at that, or a couple of them actually, will be looking after the little ones, and then they will be playing around, and it's just easier, I suppose, to join forces and everybody look after the little ones at some stage. That is a very small little Impala lamb. That is very cute. Definitely hungry. Although you're feeding at a funny angle, little one. And you see how alert she is. She's obviously, this is a very vulnerable position for her and the lamb. They're out in the open. So she's got to keep her eyes and her ears and her nose pointed in all directions just in case that there's any sort of predator. And so many things can take Impala lambs. I mean, it is unfortunate, but they face so many possible threats that a lot of them actually don't make it into adulthood. From, things like wild dogs to pythons to even tawny eagles. I've never seen a martial eagle even, but I wouldn't put it past them. And then, of course, leopards love them. They get greedy, leopards as well. Sometimes you'll see leopards that will have a couple of them, or a couple of, unfortunately, dead Impala lambs on a tree, and they will feed to them. But a lot of them do make it into adulthood, which is a great thing, and it's far, and it's widely believed that one of the reasons why impala in southern Africa also give birth at the same time is to almost to flood the market in a way. And then this way the predators cannot possibly take them all out at the same time. And if they give birth when the rains arrive, when there is a lot more green grass for the females to produce more lactogen, I think it's the hormone for milk production. So if they can produce more milk, they can then raise their young ones quicker. Then they'll be bigger, make it into adulthood quicker, and then that also will ensure that their survival. Whereas if you compare it to other areas where they don't have, when there is not such a strong seasonality in terms of food availability, like in Kenya, and you might find that they actually breed throughout the year. Rosem, you're saying cute, precious babe. I agree with you. There's just something about those little impala lambs that, when you just see them, they're just adorable. In a parallel universe where we could keep, where it wasn't unethical and we could keep wild animals as friends or pets, I'd like to keep them as friends and, we could speak to them. I would definitely love to have an impala named Caramel. I do not know where this comes from, but I would love it if this could happen, in my next life or in a parallel life where we can do these things. Because, who wouldn't want to be friends with that tiny little tail? Look at it. It's too cute. That's a lot of food, though. So generally, when creatures are very small, the vast majority of animals will maybe consume about 10% of their body weight. And then as they grow into adulthood, that generally drops down to 5%. So, and they pretty much feed around the clock. So I used to work in a wildlife rehabilitation center, and I've never known exhaustion as I did then, especially when it was baby season, which generally starts around November, because then we would have a lot of tiny little antelope species, or just baby animals in general, that require, of course, round-the-clock care. And that means midnight, 3 a.m., 6 a.m. feed. So when they're very little, like maybe 3 hours, just to make sure that they adapt to the milk formula that you're giving them, that they're not stressed and losing weight because of it. So it was quite an experience. I remember not remembering much because I was that tired, but it was definitely worth it when you see those little ones, growing. Look at it. Trying to eat the grass like mom. They learn from a very young age. But of course, it might just, even if it's just a newly born, do this more for show, but it will depend on the mother's milk. For about 7 months, they're generally weaned at about 7 months of age, as they reach sexual maturity pretty much at a year of age, which is pretty incredible, isn't it? It's quite a quick process for impala. Then the females might just mate and give birth on their 2nd year of life, because for them, there's not really any competition and so on. But for the males, it's a bit of a different story. So can't tell, the little horns are only going to start sticking out in the next couple of months, and then we will see them. But for the males, it takes them maybe about 3 to 4 years to actually earn the right or make their way up the ranks to mate with the females. So they will, at a year of age or so, maybe 2 years, they might just start being pushed out by other dominant males, or the male that comes and tries to mate with the female, and then they'll form the bachelor groups. And once they form the bachelor group, then this is almost like the arena, the training ground, where they're going to have to fight. Well, not fight, but like train to fight when the time comes, so that they can earn the right to mate with a specific herd of impala. So, it feels like life for impala is very rushed. Don't you guys think so? Rosem, you're saying that the mom looks very healthy. I agree with you. I do think both of them look very healthy. Look at that little one. Also, it could be a little bit rainy, but I don't think that's the case. It looks like a very shiny coat. So imagine if they had to give birth, or if the female was not in great condition, if she had to give birth, or if they didn't breed seasonally, if she gave birth in the middle of winter. Very little food availability, mom wouldn't be in the greatest condition, so they wouldn't look as pretty and as fluffy as what they do now. I'm happy they do the Mindy Tilipo, you said you wouldn't mind having a giraffe following you around all day. You see, in this parallel universe or alternate life where we could just be friends with wildlife and they chose to be with us, I think this would be great. I would also just like to have a pet lion. Imagine going into the shops with a pet lion and a bling bling collar. That would be great. Oh, that would be just very fantastic. But no. I would not, unfortunately, in this lifetime, keep any sort of wildcats or animals other than to rehabilitate them and then release them back into the wild, because that's not where they're meant to live, as much as we love them. Where did you go? Why are you running like a little crazy? Have you got the zoomies? Come back, little one. It's just learning how to use its legs and stretching back and forth. Did you do that? You know, suppose after being bent in their mother's belly for so many months, they just got to do this thing. What? Okay, somebody's definitely got the zoomies. Oh, and now you're tired. Definitely a little baby. You thought you could run for hours, but not yet. Well, seeing he's taking a chance to take a nap, let's go see what the penguins in Stony Point are doing. Maybe some of them are also running around. Although, you know, not like penguins can run a lot, but they can try. Ah, it's nap time. Look at that. Cape Town seems to be having good weather for a change, while the rest of us are not freezing. I don't feel too bad, though, because if there's one thing that Cape Town is known for, is for having very moody and changing weather. Are you just sleepy? That is quite the spot you've chosen to sleep on. I don't know how far it is from, let's say, the bottom of the rock, but we had an Africam. Was it an Africam show? No, it was a Wild Moments show where we had a penguin that was actually, something else was feeding on the penguin. I can't remember what it was. I think maybe it was a gull. Anyway, it was a while back, and it was just a very strange. It was a very strange sighting because the penguin just seemed, or was the penguin just floating? It was a gull. Now, you see, this memory, I really need to start taking more supplements for this memory. Chris is reminding me that it was indeed a gull that was eating the penguin, but it didn't seem like the penguin was hunted or that it was bitten by anything. We just actually didn't know what happened to it. So we were wondering if maybe it had fallen somewhere, and then when you see them go up on these rocks like this, you wonder how they don't break their necks more often. I mean, if it's slippery, if it starts raining and then they just jump down, it could happen. There's always a level of risk involved. Also, a very interesting update today from Stony Point was that the cameras, or you, or whoever was watching, you saw a Cape fur seal today, which is a first. Well, that's quite exciting. It's always nice, I feel like if you watch these cameras long enough, something is bound to pop up at some stage that you did not expect it. Things are always changing, and that's why this is very interesting. I mean, the amount of sightings that we have, fair enough, when we watch live, it might not be the most exciting sighting minute by minute. But if you watch over time, then there's always something that will keep you hooked and coming back. I wish, actually, I could touch a penguin too. I want to know what their feathers, what their coat feels like. Sometimes I wonder if it feels like rubbery, like wet rubber shoes. If you look at their wings, maybe. What would you say, penguin? Would you agree with me? Zygot, you said you've hand-fed giraffe as a kid and it felt like you were looking at a dinosaur. Fair enough. I feel like even if I went not so long ago, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, there's a place in Nairobi called the Giraffe Center, and it's attached to, or the Giraffe Research Center. And it's quite a renowned place for giraffe research. However, you can still go there and sort of hand feed giraffes as an adult too, and it is a very strange experience. What is interesting though is that they've all got they've all got their own personality, so you're warned against feeding certain ones of them that will come and sort of like horn you, because they've got very powerful necks, and of course they've got the ossicons, which are what looks like the horns on top of their heads. And some of them cannot be that, are not that friendly. But I feel like even nowadays it would be like looking at a dinosaur. Although, and I know Trishala's not here and she'll probably have a go at me if I said this. For me, it will always be the crocodiles that look like dinosaurs, or they're dinosaur-like creatures. And let me say why I'm saying this. It's just that the crocodiles as we know them today, they're not so ancient. They're not as old as what we think they are. They're probably about 50 billion years old or so on, which is not too much. In history terms, of course. If you compare it to the lifetime of a human, well, that's a lot. But they have actually evolved, and they're not They're not as old as what we think, and we tend to refer to them often as, you know, this really old things, but they're not. They're, let's put it, young in heart and, you know, in their biology. We had a show once where I said that those reptiles are very dinosaur looking, and then Trishala got all fired up. So don't tell her I repeated the joke, because then she'll be angry at me. But it's fine. I'm not scared of her, although she's a feisty human. I'm sure she would have been very excited about the Cape Fur Seal at Stony Point, although she has spent quite a bit of time with all the penguins down there. So, where are you going? You're going nowhere, actually. It's just taking a very chilled afternoon. Maybe time to groom, make sure all the feathers are in place. Maybe it's getting ready to go for a swim. Are you? Or are you just having a beauty session? Imagine the equivalent of a bird having to groom itself constantly. It's just like having to do or cut your own hair like every week. You just got to make sure that it's in perfect condition all the time, because otherwise you can't swim, you can't actually attract a mate, you can't, well, if you're a flying creature, you can't fly properly, all sorts of things. Seems like Olifants is producing more wildlife today, and there are baboons up there. So, little penguin, we're going to leave you to your siesta. I think you're probably not going to miss us too much, are you? You're still very sleepy. Sneaky baboons. You guys look like you've been up to no good, coming from human settlement. I know you all too well. Baboons around human settlements, and I don't know if you've seen it around the cameras before, they can be a bit of a problem. They're incredibly small creatures, great sense of smell, and then often they will break doors and screen doors and windows and things just to get to the goodies that are inside of the houses, or especially kitchens and things like that. So whenever I see them near construction or a human settlement or human related building, I start stressing, because after years of working in the lodges, I think that's the one thing that the lodges or the hospitality career cures you of, is the love for baboons. You don't feel it, because you end up cleaning their mess more than once. And fair enough, you know, we are in their space, we are offering, or we put out tasty treats and things that they might want, so how are they going to resist? They're just going to come and steal it from us, clearly. I don't think we talk about, I don't think we speak enough about the human-wildlife conflict when it comes to baboons and lodges. It's definitely something. And one of the things that I'm glad, even though like he's now sleeping like he's a good dog, is to have a puppy at the moment, is that the place where I live has seen an increase in monkeys and baboons. I'm not too far from the Blighter River, and I am not close to the river itself, but enough that I don't have a monkey and baboon problem. So just having the presence of a dog, and I live in Hoedspruit town, so I live in a city. It's nice to have a dog around, because then in places where I've lived, especially it was crazy. It was over COVID as well. I would wake up in the morning and have monkeys in my kitchen, where they would have destroyed everything, and it was not fun. So at least the presence of another wild animal, as I like to refer to him, will definitely be better. Yes, Cursed is also saying, to be fair, the baboons have been living here before the lodges started to get built. I agree with you, like fully understand, and I did mention it. However, could we not be nicer to each other? Marisha, you're saying that they are so fun to watch. They can be really entertaining to watch, and they're just, you know, they do have a place. I just cannot in my heart, you know, in my parallel universe, I will not be having baboon friends. Everybody else can have them. I'm just not a big fan. Oh, it seems like we've got some Impala that are perhaps having a bit of a fight. So if maybe we can head to Tau. Oh, no, they have left. Okay, then we are not going to Tau, because the Impalas have left, and now we have a bushbuck that's joined the baboon party, which is quite exciting. So whenever you see different herbivores or monkeys and herbivores, you can see that there is a tolerance level. Not all of the animals are out there to get one another, and they don't all hate each other, but they learn to live with one another, because there are different advantages of that. So generally, the baboons will have a sentinel, and or an individual that is on higher ground that is keeping an eye out, letting the rest of the troop know if there are any potential predators coming around. And they will also make a bark, like a very loud bark, and that will in turn also let the bushbuck know. And then if the bushbuck see anything, they will also bark, and then the baboons know that there's something going on. So it's a good alarm system out there. More eyes out there definitely make it safer, because everybody's looking at a different height. So that is always a good thing. There was a little one that was just jumping on the, oh, there it is. It's just jumping on the branches on the right. Hee. I don't know if it's playing with another one because I can't see from there, or if it's just like enjoying dangling from the trees and playing up and down. They are very cute to watch though. I will give them that, the little ones. They're very human-like. Oh, hello, elephant. Well, we had an elephant and Rosie span, but the elephant is also leaving. You're not too friendly today, are you, elephant? Well, I mean, he stopped mid-track just to shake his tail and let us know that he wasn't leaving, actually. He was just here all along. Elephants are very good at performing what is called displacement behavior, which I don't think was the case here, but often when you see them, they'll do something and they'll pretend that they're still doing it, or that's what they wanted to do all along, before actually admitting that you know what they're up to, and I was always leaving. But they're very good masters of disguise, of activity. Marisha, you're saying that baboons can be very scary to hear on the top of your roof fighting. Oh, especially at night. Yes, for sure. I think they make a lot of noise, and it's very deep. It's almost like a growl. And if you've never heard it before, you are definitely scared, because you know, if you've never been on safari, or even if you've been on safari and you start hearing that, you might just assume that they're fighting a leopard, that there's something going on outside, and you know, they might just fall through the roof and eat you. So absolutely, and often when the little ones get involved, and then there's some level of, you know, the adults telling off the little ones, or males fighting in between one of them, and the little ones start shrieking. They're very dramatic. Maybe all baboons were actually Italians. And I can only say this because I am partly Italian. But they tend to be very dramatic. And funny enough, one of the most interesting sightings that I had about baboons was not too long ago in the Kruger National Park, and there was a female that was mating, or you know, she was in heat and she wanted to mate, and she kept being mated on by this one particular male, and it was almost, and we saw all of this happen in front of us, and it was almost like she got tired of that male, because they do try to mate with different males, especially high-ranking males, to get to win better favors, to have access to better genes and all of these things. And she actually dragged or fooled this one male that was after her, and she led it straight to another big male. And then, of course, the other big male, when saw what was happening, then chased the other male. And it was just fascinating seeing that thought process in her head. She was very clever, and we knew. So as soon as we saw her moving, we were like, watch. She's going to take him to this other male, and this other male is going to chase this male away, and then she's going to mate with this one. And that was exactly what happened. You know, girls got to do what girls got to do to get access to the best genes and get the subpar genes to stop bothering her. Although baboons defleeing or getting the ticks off of other baboons, it is something that is always fun. It doesn't matter which way you look at it, especially because they tend to go into very uncomfortable areas, because of course that's where the ticks live. And it's, the good thing is that it has a good bonding reason for it. So you'll find that baboons that groom each other more often, then they have a stronger bond, and also baboons that are lower ranking are known to groom more often than perhaps other baboons that are higher ranking, to get better, to improve their social status within the troop. No, it's all a game. It's all a game, and it's all about, you know, how many ticks and how many favors you do to the higher ranking baboons. Oh, hello, little one. I wish I could do that on a tree. Can you imagine as an adult having the flexibility and the agility to just hang upside down and be like, cool, this is how I'm going to play. I love it. You see, outside of a lodge, you guys are really nice to watch. Seems like a very relaxing day today for the baboons. They're enjoying, it's not rainy as it is here. Bushbuck is even there in the middle of everything. So nice to see bushbuck. We actually don't see them all that much. We've had too many Nyala reintroduced, and the Nyala just pretty much have pushed all the bushbuck away, which is very sad, but it's also very nice to see them. Oh, okay. Bye-bye, bushbuck. Well, unfortunately, our time is up for today, but it's been lovely sharing this afternoon with everyone, and I think overall it was a pretty good afternoon. Lots of little interesting sightings all around, but just remember, Taylor and I, we are going to be back on Thursday, same place, same time, so make sure that you tune in, and then we will go through some of the clips of the week, see what Curse can conjure up this time. That's everything. Bye for now.